How about the offensive line? 2 offensive linemen for the Patriots in this class. They took at the end of day 3, Kaden Wallace, a tackle from Penn State. And then they took at the end of day 2, the end of round 3. And then in the 4th round, at the start of day 3, they took a guard, Layden Robinson, who some people think can maybe play a little tackle. I'd be surprised if he moves out there at the NFL. So on Wallace, because a lot of people viewed this as a reach, and this is the bigger of the two. People talked about Polk as a reach too, but Wallace really was projected as a day 3 pick, maybe in a mid-day 3 pick, and they took him at pick 68. You could also argue he was the best tackle on the board because there was this just massive run on tackles late in the second round. I would have liked to see the Patriots move up. I like Kaden Wallace as a player, but as anybody who listens to this show regularly knows, and from having talked about Chuks Okorafor, especially, who the Patriots signed in free agency, is a career right tackle who they said they want to play at left. I that move always makes me nervous. It's a lot harder than people realize to go from being a full-time right tackle to a full-time left tackle, or vice versa. There are some guys who play both and bounce back and forth. That's more of a skill than people realize. And Wallace is the same thing. 40 career starts, so very experienced, but all at right tackle. And Elliot Wolf, Gerard Mayo talked about it, that they see him as a guy because of his athleticism. They think he can play on the left side. He didn't do it in college. He said he couldn't remember really doing it since high school. But this is another. Will it work? Maybe. Like same with Chuks Okorafor, but they don't really have a defined left tackle. And this continues a strategy they've had going back a few years of trying to move non-left tackles to tackle. Either it was behind Trent Brown or now as a starter. And so that's the one where I look at it and think, could they have gotten a little more aggressive and gone up and gotten a guy like Kingsley Suamatiana, or Blake Fisher played right tackle at the end of his career at Notre Dame, but at least played some left tackle in college.
Do you think when they evaluate these guys and right tackles, whatever, do they have an opportunity? I don't know. I'm kind of asking you, do they have an opportunity to kind of not work these guys out, but check their footwork and see if they look at them and say they have the ability to make the switch? Because it's coordination, footwork, stuff like that, hand placement, things they're not used to, that naturally line their feet up a certain way when they're on the right versus the left. Do you think they look at these guys and have a chance to test them out and say, okay, he looks like he has the ability to switch? Or are they just like, we can fix that later on? What do you think how did he think they evaluate that and say, makes them come to the conclusion that they can switch this guy and not the other guy?
So you can get a look at that. Like Kaden Wallace played some left tackle. He was at the Shrine Bowl this year and played some left tackle there. But like it's 1 week of exposure. So you're making a pretty big projection in that regard. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, if they hit on Poker Baker, we go into next year and it's tackle at the top of the board easy. Right? Yeah. Very clearly it's tackle at the top of the board. The other thing on Layden Robinson, so 3 top 150 guards last year. They take a guard 103rd overall this year. I don't think they love what they have at guard. And I thought City showed some growth last year, but on the left side, there's been reports that Cole Strange might not be ready to start the season. It seems like they're maybe getting ready for an open competition at left tackle in training camp.
You mean left guard, you mean?
Left guard. I mean, left tackle will be too, but left guard, yeah.
Huh. So, I mean, I'm glad they went after offensive linemen in the draft. They got guys, but like you said, it all comes down to the left tackle position. It's almost like they got guys in place, almost like if they were going to draft a left-handed quarterback. That'd have been interesting. Yeah, but I mean, it's now it's up to, like all these guys, it's now coming up to the coaching. Can they get these guys up to speed? Can they coach these guys up? Having a Skarnecki around would be awesome right about now, but they have to find their guy. Well, the guys they have that they've hired, they have the toughest job now this offseason, is to try and figure out what guys they can put on the left side of that line, not only for pass protection, but getting this run game going and keep whoever the quarterback is from being killed, and allow these guys that can get downfield to be the playmakers that you drafted them to be.
They did also, they're going through their UDFA class right now, and they've signed a couple of guys. They did sign one tackle that's interesting to me, and I talk about how playing both sides at tackle is tough. It's a real skill. Zuri Henry from UTEP, 6-year starter at UTEP, 6 years. 1,800 snaps at left tackle and 800 at right tackle. So this is a guy that just played both spots significantly. He's undersized. He's, I think, 6'3", 297. So he's got to get bigger. And penalties were a problem last year. He was called for 12 penalties in 11 games. But this, again, it seems like they're going to give every tackle a chance. So this is a guy I look at and say maybe he'll have a shot at making the team.
Training camp's going to be more exciting than the season.
It is going to be an electric training camp. We'll get to that in a little bit.